So, hello. Um, I hope that everybody is staying at home and using their time productively. So, you all know that due to these unprecedented times, all the schools are going online and they are starting off with the chapter number one, real numbers. So, today we will cover the first chapter of maths, which is real numbers of NCRT books. Okay, so let us start off with the real numbers for class 8, 9, 10th. So for class 8th, the chapter is known as rational numbers, which comes under real numbers. Ninth standard is known as number system. Same thing, real numbers. Okay, so let us start. Okay, first let's learn about the number system. First, what are natural numbers? So when the man came on earth, he started counting things. For example, rocks, livestock, and his tools and equipment. So that was the use of natural numbers. So it is also known as counting numbers and denoted by the capital letter N, right? And it starts from 1 and goes infinitely. Whole numbers. Okay. So what are whole numbers? All the natural numbers along with 0 are known as whole numbers. Okay. So whole numbers, there was a need of 0. What was the question that arose in their mind was, um, what how do you represent nothing? So they came up with the idea of 0. Okay. Okay, so next we will talk about integers. What are integers? Wait. Integers are negative numbers along with whole numbers. Now, what are negative numbers? It is the numbers with this minus sign. So, it is used to determine the values which is less than 0. For example, minus 1, minus 2, and it goes infinitely this side and this side. So that's why I use this dot line. Okay, so these all are integers, but now this is the 8th standard concept, rational numbers. It is a number which can be represented in the form of p by q, where p and q belong to integers. Now this sign is very important. This sign means belongs to. Okay, that sign, it will be coming in various olympiads, examinations, and you should not be like, I don't know this what this sign means. So it means belongs to. Okay, so a few points related to rational numbers. So all these natural numbers, whole numbers, integers are rational numbers. And why haven't I written fractions? Fractions are rational numbers, but not all, not all rational numbers are fractions. For example, rational numbers can be negative. For example, minus 3 by 4, minus 45 by 71, minus 4 by minus 5, and it will become 4 by plus 4 by 5. So p and q should belong to integers, and q shouldn't be 0. This is very important. Okay, so why q shouldn't be equal to 0? Q, it is the denominator. So whenever, if there is any division and the denominator is 0, then the answer becomes not defined, because anything divided by 0 is not defined. Okay, now rational numbers can be terminating decimal or non-terminating recurring decimal. So now what is do you mean by terminating decimal? Terminating decimals, it is, see, the name has it. So terminating, which stops after a specific point. For example, 1.5, 2.34. Yeah, these both are examples of terminating decimals. So yeah, these can be easily converted to p by q form. These, however, They are still rational numbers. These can be represented in p by q form, but it's a little bit different. You will be learning two methods to solve these. Is one is the objective method, another is subjective method. We'll talk about that later. First of all, what does this thing mean? Bar. What is bar? What is this bar? What is this? A bar is written or put when the number under the bar is repeated. For example, in the first one, 3.3 bar. So it is 3.33333 infinitely. It will be going 3. Okay, 0.3 is 0.3333 infinitely. Here 3.142857 bar. Okay, so it is on all of these. So it is 3.142857 1.2 sorry 14 so it will be going infinitely. 3.142857 142857, it will be going like that infinitely. So what if some people ask, so 1.01, but the bar is only on 1, on the last one 1.01, but the bar is over the last one, so it is 1.011111 infinitely. Okay, so you should not write in your examination 1.0101, that is wrong. Conversion of a non-terminating recurring decimal to p by q form. Okay, so this is the objective method. The subjective method, it is down below somewhere, it's a question. Yeah, so 0.3. Okay, so the method states that actually this is not under your 8th standard syllabus. Your 8th standard syllabus is over here. There are a few extra parts given in your textbook. I'll just tell them. Where's the page? You have learnt about properties of rational numbers: closure property, commutative property, associative property, then distributive. So you have to do this on your own because you have learned this in your 6th grade and 7th grade. And one more thing is, there are more like additive identity, I think they have given. Yeah, additive identity and multiplicative identity. Yeah, they have given it as special numbers 0 and 1. I think so. Where is it? Yeah, not additive. Yeah. So role of 0 is additive identity, and multiplicative identity is 1. Because if you see, for 0 is the additive identity y. So if any rational number is added to 0, it gives the rational number itself. So that is why 0 is the rational number, is the additive identity of rational number. For example, if you take -2 plus 0, what is it equal to? Yes, tell me. -2 itself. Okay, so that is the reason. Next is multiplicative identity. Any number when multiplied with 1 gives the number itself. So that you must know. Next is additive inverse. Now what is additive inverse? Like when two numbers a and b are added, their sum should be equal to 0. That is only possible when a number is added to its negative. Example, take a number 2 by 3 and you add it to -2 by 3, so the answer will be 0. So that is the additive identity. Next is reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse is when like two rational numbers are multiplied and the answer is 1. How is that? You may ask, how is that? For example, 3 by 4, when you multiply it by its like reverse, for example 3 by 4 and into 3 by 4 into 4 by 3, and it will cancel out and give 1. So that is the multiplicative inverse. Next is Distributive is done. Representation of rational numbers on number line. You must have learned this last year in your 7th grade. Rational numbers between two rational numbers, so you should find the LCM round, make the denominator into some 10 or 100, then you can find that number. You must have done this in your last year. That's it. That's your 8th standard syllabus complete. Okay, so one question I'm going to ask you: how many rational numbers are between two rational numbers, two distinctive rational numbers? Yeah, tell me. It is infinite. If you take two rational numbers, 1 by 2 and 1 by 3, you will find infinite rational numbers between 1 by 2 and 1 by 3. Okay, so we'll continue with the conversion of non-terminating recurring decimal to a p by q form. First, I've taken one example, 0.3 bar. Bar is only on 0. The first step is write all the numbers. For example, in this there is 0 and 3. Don't write 333. That is wrong. Just write normally, just directly write all the numbers. So it is 0 and 3. Just write 0, 3. Minus the numbers which is not under the bar. So which is 0. And one thing, guys, sorry. So what you have to remember is you have to write this in the order. For example, if you write 0 and 3, 0, 3, you should not write it as 3, 0. So yeah, and this is the only one which is not under the bar, so 0. Let's see another example. So the first one, you have to subtract these two. Write all the digits, subtract the digits which is not under the bar, and number of numbers under the bar. There is only one number under the bar, right? Right, yeah. So we'll put 1, 9. This is very important. So you should put 1, 9 and nothing else, which equal to 3 by 9, which equal to 1 by 3. So this 1 by 3 is the rational number, which is 0.3 equal to 1 by 3. So 1.01 and the bar is only on 1. Yeah, these kind of questions are very important. These can be asked in any type of Olympiad or any exam. So first write all the digits in the same order. 1, 0, 1. Write the digits not under the bar, 1 and 0. So it becomes 10. Okay, so there is only one digit under the bar here. So you put 1, 9. But you may ask, why this 0 came? What is this 0 all about? So this 0 is put for the decimal number which is not under the bar but still in a decimal point. Example 0. So you put 1, 0 for that. How many digits are not under the bar but under decimal point? You have to put those many number of zeros. Hope you understand. Okay, so there is one more question. I think it's there in your exercise somewhere. Yeah, I've done it here. So represent 1.27 bar as P by Q. And this is long answer type questions, which is subjective. You have to write step by step. Objective is ticking, multiple choice question. So let's start. Let x equal to 1.27272727. That is the 1.27 bar. Then 100x equal to 127.272727 infinitely. Because it will just move to decimal places. Then 100x equal to 126 plus 1.2727, like that, which equal to 126 plus x. 1.27272727 is equal to x, so you replace this with x. So 100x equal to 126 plus x. So this x comes this side, it becomes minus. 100x minus x equals 126. 99x equal to 126. Then x equal to 126 by 99, which is 14 by 11. Okay, so 14 by 11 equal to 1.27 bar. Where is it? A minute, guys. Yeah. Irrational numbers. So what is irrational number? Irrational numbers is can be written as a number s, which is called irrational if it cannot be written in p by q form, where p and q belong to integer and q is not equal to 0. Cannot be written as a p by q form. They are always non-terminating, non-recurring decimals. This is one thing you'll have to remember. Example: pi equal so you may be thinking pi equal to 22 by 7, but no, pi is approximately equal to 22 by 7. It is approximated to make it easier. Next is root of 2, root of 3, root of 5, root of 7, definitely. Now, under this, in exams, you may be asked, what is the surd? Surd. Okay. It is a irrational root of a number. Irrational root of a number. For example, root of a number, any number, and that root must be irrational. So that will be the surds. Okay, so we are done with the first page. That was quick. Okay. Prove that root 5 is irrational. Let us suppose that root 5 is rational and represented as a by b, where a and b are co-prime and b is not equal to 0. This is your 10th standard part. So what is done? So first you have to just have to turn on the light. First, what you do is you have to take suppose that it is rational number and it can be represented by a by b, where a and b are co-prime. So their common factor is only 1 and b is not equal to 0. Yes, not equal to 0. Okay, so first what do? You square both sides. First one is root 5 square equal to a by b square. Okay, so it becomes 5 equal to a square divided by b square. So then this b square, you're going to put it up here. B square into 5 equal to a square. Then then 5 will go here. B square equal to a square divided by 5. Then you have to infer that a square is divisible by 5, and so a is also divisible by 5. Obviously, if a square is divisible by 5, even a is divisible by 5. Let a equal to 5m. Yeah, so if a can be divided by 5 and the quotient is m, so so a equal to 5m for some integer m. Then root 5 equal to 5m divided by b. Yeah, you are replacing a with 5m. Then square both sides, normal. Root 5 square equal to 5m square by b. So 5 equal to 25m square divided by b square. Yeah, 5 square is 25, then m square. 25m square divided by b square. So then bring this to this side. So this is the basic idea. So it becomes b square 5 equal to 25m square. Then b square equal to 25m square divided by 5, which equal to 5m square. Then this 5 will go that side. B square divided by 5 equal to m square. Then you can see that b square is also divisible by 5. So then b is also divisible by 5. From this we conclude that 5 is a common factor of a and b. Yeah, both a and b are divisible by 5. Here we prove that a is also divisible. Here b is also divisible. So this contradicts our supposition that a and b are co-prime. Thus, root 5 is irrational. This first statement, let us suppose, and this last part remains same for these kind of questions. This contradicts our supposition that a and b are co-prime. This part, from this we can conclude it can change a bit. Let's see how it changes a bit. Okay, let us see now. Yeah, prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Okay, so you may think, looking at the problem, oh my god, it will be hard because it's way bigger. But when it's bigger, it should become way easier. Let us assume the contrary, that yeah, this is constant. Never you should change it. Only this should change. 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number and it is equal to a by b, where a and b are co-prime and b is not equal to 0. Okay. So first step, 3 plus 2 root 5 equal to a by b. Then this 3 should go that side. 2 root 5 equal to a by b plus 3. Correct? Now this 2, it's 2 into root 5, right? So this 2 should go that side. So it multiplies with both the denominators, making it a divided by 2b minus 3 by 2. Thus because a and b are integers, thus root 5 is a rational number. Yeah, if this is a rational number, then this should be a rational number. But we know that root 5 is an irrational number. Yeah. So this shows that our assumption is incorrect. And 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational number. Okay. So this is one type of question where the one of the statement changes, but root 5 is irrational number. This part only changes. Okay, nothing else changes. Locate root 2 on a number line. Yeah, these kind of questions is in your 9th standard. Okay, but I'm combining all the chapters because it will become easier to combine the topics and learn in a proper flow. Okay, so locate root 2 on number line. Let root 2 be the hypotenuse of a right angle triangle. Yeah. But you may be asking, why should you do this? Can't you just learn what root 2 equals and just put on the number line? But root 2 is an irrational number. So we cannot properly determine the position of it properly. So this is the best method. So let the root 2 be a hypotenuse of right angle triangle where a square plus b square equal to c square, Pythagoras theorem. So c equal to root of a square plus b square. Let a and b equal to 1. So c equal to 1 square plus 1 square is root, which equal to root 2. Okay. So then we'll draw this triangle. This is 1 unit. This is 1 unit. Okay. So this 1 unit should be equal to this part. While drawing, it is always equal. This side and this side should be equal, 1 and 1. But if it's 1 and 2, you should draw it even longer. I've taken the scale as 0 to 1, it will be 2 centimeters of graph. Then you join the 2. So this is root 2. Okay? Yeah. So then what you do? Root 2, you have obtained it. Yeah. You have obtained what root 2 is on the as the hypotenuse, but it is not on the number line. So what we do, you take a compass. Yeah, for this chapter you'll need a geometry box, and then you have to from this point. Okay, from this point you have to draw a cut which intersects this line, and the point of intersection P, which equals to root of 2. Okay, this is the simple method. Many people think that this is hard, but this is the easiest method. Other than finding the actual number and doing that. Let us see another example where you have to do a different method. Locate root 3 on a number line. Yeah. So root 3 on a number line. So what should you do? Let us take that root 3 as a length of a hypotenuse. Let it be a hypotenuse. But we have to draw it this way. Why? Because you can root 3 cannot be taken as a hypotenuse of some random number. If you see a square plus b square, where a and b are rational number, it can never be equal to root 3. That is one thing you have to observe. So what you are doing here is you are first drawing root 2, then you are drawing another right angle triangle of 1 unit like that. So this is root 2. Root 2 square equal to 2. 2 plus 1 square 1. So 2 plus 1 3. So this hypotenuse right over here. Okay, sorry. That hypotenuse is root 3. So then what first step you have to draw the for root 2. Then you have to draw root 3 as shown in this figure. And that number line, you should use a good scale, because if you use like a really small scale, it will be hard for you to make a cut, because you have to make a small radius with your compass. That will be very hard. So take it as 2 units for like these kind of questions. Then you have to cut from this point till the line. So the point Q which intersects equal to root 3. In the same way, you can locate root n for any positive integer n. Yeah, in this method you can locate root n for any positive integer n after root of n minus 1 has been found. Yeah, so what are we doing? This root 2. Then again we are making a right angle triangle. So we know root of n minus 1, n is 3, n minus 1 you know. Then you can find any number like that. Next one is real numbers. We'll learn about real numbers now. Wait, we have done this, right? Represent, yeah. Just tick that, just so that I know I've done it. In the same way, you can locate, okay, that one we have finished. Real numbers. All rational and irrational numbers are categorized as one group, real numbers. Okay, all rational plus all the irrational numbers, not addition. It is the set of all rational and irrational numbers are known as real numbers. And one point is all real numbers can be located on a number line. Yeah. Example, root 3 can be located, rational number can be located. Yeah. So this one you should understand. All the numbers that we have done till now are real numbers. It's your 10th standard part. In the higher classes, you will be learning about imaginary numbers. Example, iota. You don't have to worry about it. If I start off with imaginary numbers, you'll become really confused. Yeah. Next part. Trick to find if a rational number is terminating or not. This is given in some other way in your textbook. It's given 2 power m. Okay, that I'll not tell before introducing the topic. If the denominator of a rational number is 2 or 5 or their power, then it is a terminating decimal. So if the denominator is a power of 2 or power of 5 or 2 into 5 or power of 2 times a power of 5, then it is a terminating decimal. So here I've written exceptions, but I'll tell you there are no exceptions. I mean, you'll be a bit confused now. Then I'll introduce it to you. Example, 9 by 2. Its denominator is 2. Yeah, so it will be a terminating decimal, 4.5. 9 divided by 25, which equal to 9 divided by 5 into 5 is equal to 0.36, which is terminating. But 22 by 7 is non-terminating, because 7 cannot be written as a power of 5 or power of 2 or multiplication of the powers of 2 and 5. Here, exceptions. What are exceptions? Actually, I've told that this trick is always working, but there is a few examples where it doesn't work. It only happens when a number is not in its simplest form. If you see, a few people make this mistake, so I cannot call it actually an exception. It always works. 6 by 15, if you see the denominator 3 into 5, but 3, it should not come, so it is a non-terminating, but this concept is wrong. It's always the p by q. If in these type of questions or these type of questions, it should be in the simplest form. It's an exception if p by q is not in its simplest form. Okay, so there are few questions about it in your exercises, I think. So yeah, I'll be giving a bit of work for you. Then we'll start off with the proper. I mean, this is the first topic, first heading that you'll see under the 10th standard topic. Euclid's division lemma and Euclid's division algorithm. Okay, I think I should just teach you what is lemma, and then I'll start off with Euclid's division lemma in the next class, next part. So, what is a lemma? A lemma is a proven statement which is used for proving another statement. But what do I mean like that? A proven statement for proving another statement. Example, I'll take some part of physics, which you may know. Force equal to mass times acceleration. Yeah. Then you can find out acceleration equal to f divided by n. Then that you can associate to v minus u by t acceleration, and you can create a new formula. It's not like a new formula, it has already been done through substitution. Like that, it is known as lemma. But in physics, it's not a lemma. It is a formula. It can be used as a lemma. Okay, so I think I should conclude the session. We have done. Okay, so the next class there are 3 pages. I think I'll be able to complete. So guys, I will be giving you some homework, or actually you'll have done this on your already. You have to solve all the exercises up till this Euclid's division lemma and division algorithm. Okay, so stay safe, stay at home, and use your time properly in studying.